Hi guys, welcome back to my video. As you guys can see in the description, I had surgery and that's why I haven't been fully active or posting a lot. I've been posting shorts, but I had surgery. I had an ovarectomy and the procedure that I got was to remove a right ovary and a cyst. So the recovery has not been fun for me at all. And it's good days and bad days. But the scariest thing going into this was I had no symptoms at all of my right ovary having issues. And the only reason why I knew something was wrong is because of my aunt and my cousins are like, hey, something's severely wrong with you and you're not getting it better by day. And it was kind of like an instant thing. And we went to the ER, they did a CT, and then the CT came out and they're like, oh, you have a tumor in your ovary and a cyst. So they transferred me to a specialist, and yeah, it was scary, but like before then, this is how it looked like Monday of that week of Thanksgiving and Wednesday. So like there's two different things that should have like clicked in my head, but I was being in denial. Although like surgery might not scare a lot of people or like the sound of surgery, it was scary to me because this is my first ever surgery and I didn't know how it's gonna impact me and like my body or like how anesthesia is gonna affect me. So before going to the hospital, we had to contact the specialist that they gave the number to, and I contacted them and they made an appointment because we had to drive 3.5 hours to the appointment. So when we drove there, we stayed the night at my cousin's house. So very grateful for my two little cousins that they were willing to let me stay at their house, and my parents and my brother and my dog as well, because the whole family went because we were on Christmas break, thankfully, because I don't know what I would have done. It was on like a regular day and everything's chaotic. So with that happening, we stayed there a day, and then we stayed there at my cousins for a day, and then the next day on the 17th we went to the specialist. My parents and I went to the specialist because they needed my parents. Went to the specialist, and the specialist talked to me when I went to the room by myself, and she did like a pap smear and like all the women's tests. So go get tested every single year just in case, because you never know what's gonna happen. And she got me tested. She's like, yeah, you're getting sicker and sicker by day, and also you have fluid into your going into your lungs, so we're gonna admit you in the hospital right away. So she did, and then we went to the hospital. They checked us in and everything. They got us into the room and got my IV going and everything that night. And the next morning I was not allowed to eat that night after 12 because that's cut off, because when you have surgery the next day you can't have anything. So when I had surgery the next day, the morning following that, I had to get potassium, like the bags of potassium into like my IV, and that was so painful for some reason. But I had to get 4 bags of that potassium, and after the potassium was done, I have like a hair here. Potassium was done. The sonography girls, one of the sonography girls came up to the floor and pushed me to the sonography room to get fluid out of my lungs. If you ever have fluid out of your lungs, it's the most painful experience you've ever had to go through. And I had to get about 500 milliliters out of my lungs, the fluid. And after they drained the fluid out of my lungs, we went to get x-rays. They pushed me to get x-rays on my chest to see my lungs properly working. And afterwards waited in the little patient's room so a nurse can come get me, and then they will like push me up into the OR and my parents will follow, and got me ready into the room, and then everything hooked up. I just gotta wait for my surgeon to be there, and they started the procedure, pushed me in the OR around like noon, and it took an hour and 2 hours. From that, I had an ovarectomy, and that means I had a cyst of like a tennis ball that's like this big. So they had to get rid of that cyst, and they also got rid of my right ovary, which kind of sucks. I have one, but it's okay. It's for my health, and it was to prevent anything from happening. And I was perfectly fine with that because I'm like, if anything's to help me with my life, like to save my life, then that's the procedure that I had to do. And they even, like, before everything, they said, like, if it's on both sides, you might not be able to have kids, you might have alternatives, and that, like, scares me a little bit because I do want to have kids in the future. But luckily I still have one. And after surgery, I can't remember anything. I just remember asking for my dog and Jello that night. And the next day, it's when, like, they had to take the catheter out and made sure, like, I stood up and, like, I was able to stand up and, like, walk a little bit, which was painful. I wanted to cry because it was, like, so much on your stomach because I had a waist binder to help me get up and down of the bed, and I had to walk, so, like, it helps get the bowels moves again after surgery. And I was able to eat that day as well. And they kept me for 2 more nights, two more, like, a day and a half, because I went Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, so, like, I was there for 3 days, and I got discharged on Friday. And I stayed at my cousin's house before making that drive home. And yeah, it was not a fun experience for me because getting up and down from the bed, it hurts. And there was, like, a little bleeding, which is completely normal after you get that major surgery. So but they had to make an incision. This is, like, where my belly button is. Like, this is my belly button. And then the left side of, like, the lower belly button, they came from the left side and then down to where the ovary is. So it's, like, this long of an incision, and they had to stitch it, obviously. And then I have a scar and all there, and yeah, I'm gonna embrace that scar because it's something that is a little traumatic for me. But I had a good support system. I had friends, family, that everybody that cared. I'm still not very normal yet. There's days that when I sit for so long, it kind of, like, aches and it's cold, so it doesn't really help at all. But it's 9-ish weeks, and completely to be normal, it's 12 weeks. But I'm just very grateful that I had a great staff and everybody there. But it was scary in a way that I didn't think I had to ever experience. But I found out I'm anemic as well, so I have to take care of that, and I have to be very careful with having one ovary now, because if I want to have kids, I have to take care of that one ovary that's working overtime right now. But that's a little bit of information on my surgery. I don't want to go into depth about it or, like, the recovery stage. If you guys want a separate video about the recovery and you're, like, curious about it, I can make a separate video about, like, the recovery stage and, like, what I had to do and certain things. But that is the video. I hope you guys like the video, and I'll see you in the next one, which is actually a fun video that I'm wear testing Satchoos lip stain and their new lip, like their new lip, their new cheek stain. So I'll see you in the next one.